Let me tell you something that changed my life and the lives of countless high achievers. Where focus goes, energy flows. It's not just a catchy phrase. It's a law. It governs the results you get in your life, in your business, in your relationships, in your health, everything. The quality of your life is directly correlated to where and how you direct your focus. Most people think they need more time. They don't. What they need is more focus. You can have 24 hours in a day like everyone else, but if you're not focusing your energy with intention, you're scattered. You're busy being busy instead of being productive. And there's a massive difference between movement and progress. You can run 100 miles in the wrong direction and still end up nowhere. The moment you shift your focus, truly shift it, to something with passion, intensity, and clarity, your whole internal world begins to change. Your emotions change, your thoughts line up, your physiology responds, and when your mind and body are in alignment, your actions become powerful. Your decisions become faster. Your results become inevitable. See, focus is like a magnifying glass. You take the sun, an incredibly powerful source of energy, and spread it across the earth, and it's warm. But you take that same energy and you direct it through a lens, focus it on one single point, and you can set something on fire. That's the difference. That's the power of focus. The fire of achievement doesn't start from scattered light. It starts when you channel everything into a single purpose with total commitment. The challenge today is that we live in a world that's addicted to distraction. Our brains are trained for short bursts of attention. Scroll, swipe, skip. Everyone's looking for the next dopamine hit. But focus, real focus, is about discipline. It's about deciding what matters and saying no to everything that doesn't move the needle. That's not easy. But that's why so few people rise to the top, because they never take command of their focus. Let me ask you something. What are you focusing on right now in your life? What's getting most of your mental and emotional bandwidth? Is it what's wrong? Is it what you can't control? Or are you laser, focused on possibility, on what's next, on what you can create? Because here's the truth. What you focus on, you feel. You focus on lack, and you feel poor. You focus on gratitude, and you feel rich. You focus on failure, you feel defeated. You focus on learning, and you feel empowered. Focus doesn't just influence your external results. It builds your internal state. That state, the way you feel consistently, is what drives your behavior. And your behavior over time determines your destiny. That's why it's so crucial that you guard your focus like a warrior guards a gate. Because the moment you let something unworthy in, fear, doubt, negativity, it starts eroding your edge. It chips away at your certainty. It dilutes your energy. Energy is the ultimate resource, and focus is what unlocks it. People ask all the time, how do I get more motivation? Stop looking for motivation. Get focused. Motivation comes after action, not before. When you're deeply focused, you're naturally energized. You're pulled forward by your vision instead of pushed by pressure. And when you're focused on a mission, something that matters deeply to you, nothing can stop you. You stop hesitating. You stop second guessing. You enter a state of flow where time disappears, fear vanishes, and all that exists is this one powerful moment of action. That's where breakthroughs happen. That's where excellence is born, not in comfort, not in chaos, in clarity. You've got to train your mind like a muscle. Every time you choose to focus on your goal instead of giving in to distraction, you're building strength. You're conditioning yourself for greatness. And just like the body changes when you challenge it, your life begins to transform when you commit to controlling your focus. There's a version of you that already exists, the version with the body you want, the relationships you deserve, the impact you're capable of. That version is not waiting for you to do more. It's waiting for you to focus on what matters, to eliminate what doesn't, and to move with purpose. Because when you own your focus, you own your future. You don't need more time. You need more direction, more intention, more commitment to what actually matters. And when you do that, when you consistently direct your focus toward what moves you forward, you will unleash a level of power within you that most people never touch. Clarity creates power, and I'm not talking about vague wishes or soft intentions. I'm talking about radical, emotional, cellular-level clarity. When you know exactly what you want, why you want it, and what it's going to feel like when you get there, you unlock something inside of you that's unstoppable. That kind of clarity is rare. Most people wander through life hoping for a better outcome but never defining it. They're reacting instead of creating, and if you don't have clarity, you're drifting, you're moving without direction. You're chasing noise instead of purpose. Let's be real, confusion is the enemy of execution. You can have the skills, the drive, the resources, but if you're not clear, you won't move. Or worse, you'll move in 10 different directions at once, and that will drain you. It's like a car with a full tank of gas, but no steering wheel. All the horsepower in the world means nothing if you can't steer with purpose. But the moment you decide, truly decide, what you're after, everything shifts. It's like flipping a switch. You start seeing opportunities where before you only saw obstacles. Your brain, your body, your decisions all begin to organize themselves around that vision. That's not coincidence, that's alignment. That's the power that gets released when you stop dabbling and start declaring what matters most. Clarity demands that you ask better questions, not just what do I want. That's surface level. You've got to go deeper. What are you committed to? What do you value more than comfort? What's the cost of not achieving this? Because when the vision gets crystal clear, the excuses fade. The distractions lose their pull, and the standard rises. Most people don't lack ability, they lack clarity. That's why they hesitate. That's why they procrastinate. They're foggy. They've got 50 tabs open in their brain, and none of them are loading. But once you lock in, once you get clear on what you must do and who you must become to do it, you start making decisions that support that version of yourself. Your life changes the moment your identity aligns with your vision. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design, and clarity is the blueprint. You cannot build a masterpiece on a vague foundation. If you want to create an extraordinary life, you've got to get precise. Get obsessed with the details. Visualize it, speak it, feel it like it's already done. This is where most people fall short. They confuse activity with achievement. They stay busy instead of staying clear. But being in motion doesn't mean you're progressing. You've got to pause and ask, is what I'm doing right now moving me closer to what I've declared matters most? If the answer is no, then stop. Redirect, recalibrate. That's the power of clarity. It gives you the ability to course. Correct before you waste more time, more energy, more years. When you get clear, you also get confident. You're no longer trying to be everything to everyone. You stop chasing what looks good and start building what feels right. And people feel that, they're drawn to it, because clarity radiates, it becomes magnetic. It creates certainty in an uncertain world. Clarity is also what gives birth to consistency. You want lasting change. Don't rely on willpower, rely on clarity. When you know why you're doing something, you don't need to push yourself. You're pulled, you don't wake up asking if you feel like it. You wake up with purpose. That's how champions live. Not from motivation, but from mission. And mission requires clarity. I want you to get brutally honest with yourself. What do you really want? Not what sounds good. Not what you think others want to hear. What do you want? What outcome would make you proud, fulfilled, lit up inside? Paint the picture in your mind so vividly that you can taste it. That vision will become your compass when the storms come, and they will come. Because clarity isn't just for the easy days. It's for the hard ones. The days when fear creeps in, when doubt whispers, when the old patterns try to take over. Clarity is what silences the noise and brings you back to center. It reminds you who you are, what you're made for, and why you started in the first place. Without clarity, you're at the mercy of the moment. With it, you become a creator of momentum. You stop chasing outcomes and start living from intention. And when you combine clarity with focus, now you're building a life on your terms deliberately, unapologetically, and powerfully. Because in the end, power doesn't come from force. It comes from alignment, and alignment starts with clarity. Distraction is the true enemy of progress. Not lack of talent, not lack of opportunity, distraction. We live in the most connected, stimulated, overinformed era in human history. Yet most people feel more lost, more overwhelmed, and more stuck than ever. And it's not because they don't have what it takes. It's because their attention is under attack every single day. Think about it. The average person checks their phone over 90 times a day. Notifications, emails, texts, DMs, ads, ping, 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 constant noise. And every time you allow yourself to be pulled into that chaos, you're giving away tiny slices of your future. You're giving your time, your focus, your energy to things that don't build you. Every scroll, every click, every distraction, it's costing you something. And if you're not careful, that cost becomes your life. See, distraction isn't just a harmless delay. It's a thief. It doesn't just steal your time, it steals your potential. Because while you're looking at someone else's highlight reel, you're not writing your own. While you're reacting to every little thing, you're not building the thing that matters. Progress requires presence. And you can't be present if you're addicted to distraction. Let's call it out. Distraction feels good. It gives you a hit of dopamine. It's easy. It's comfortable. It gives you an excuse not to face the hard stuff. The stuff that actually moves the needle. But here's the truth. If you don't learn to manage your focus, someone else will. The world is not going to make it easy for you to stay focused. That's your job. Your growth, your success, your fulfillment, they're your responsibility. You want to build momentum in your life? Eliminate distraction. Guard your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. You can't afford to give your energy to everything, not if you want to create something exceptional. You've got to become ruthless about what you let into your world. That means cutting the noise, turning off the notifications, saying no to what's good so you can say yes to what's great. Now, I get it. The moment you try to focus, the world will fight back. Your phone lights up. Someone needs your attention. Your mind starts looking for an escape. That's not failure, that's training. Every time you bring your focus back, you're rewiring your brain for mastery. You're conditioning yourself to take command instead of being controlled. And the more you do it, the stronger you get. Just like a muscle, just like discipline, distraction thrives on indecision. If you don't know what your mission is, if you don't have that clarity we talked about, then everything looks important. Everything feels urgent, but once you're locked in on your outcome, distractions become obvious. They lose their grip on you because you've raised your standard. You've decided that your vision is worth more than someone else's agenda. The difference between the top 1% and everyone else. They don't get less distracted because life is easier. They get less distracted because they've trained their focus like a weapon. They know what's at stake. They don't let temporary temptations derail permanent goals. That level of discipline isn't natural, it's intentional. It's built one decision at a time. You don't eliminate distraction once and for all. You conquer it daily, hour by hour, choice by choice. You wake up and decide, today, I don't give my energy to things that don't build me. You carve out space for deep work. You eliminate what pulls you away from progress. You build habits that support your mission. And over time, the chaos fades, the fog lifts, and your results start compounding. That's the beauty of focused progress. It doesn't just add up, it multiplies. What took you a week starts taking you a day. You stop spinning in circles and start stacking wins. You move forward with clarity, intention, and power. You become a force not because you're doing more, but because you're doing what matters. And here's the paradox. When you eliminate distraction, you don't just gain time, you gain freedom. Real freedom. Freedom to think, to create, to connect, to live by design, not by default. That's what most people are missing. They're not burned out because they're working too hard. They're burned out because they're focused on too many things that don't matter. And that misalignment drains everything. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, stuck, frustrated, don't ask what you need to add. Ask what you need to remove. What distraction is stealing your drive? What noise is clouding your path? What comfort is keeping you from your calling? Because progress isn't complicated. It's simple, not easy, but simple. Eliminate distraction, lock in on what matters, and refuse to settle for anything less. Focused action turns dreams into inevitable outcomes. Not optional, not maybe someday, inevitable. The difference between people who talk about what they want and those who actually build it, brick by brick, is action fueled by focus. Not random effort, not bursts of motivation that fade in a week. I'm talking about sustained, intentional, focused action that compounds over time and becomes unstoppable. Everybody has a dream. That's easy. Vision boards, big ideas, long lists of goals, those are everywhere. But very few people execute. Very few people wake up every day and live in alignment with that dream. Why? Because dreaming is fun. Action is demanding. Dreaming is safe. Action is vulnerable. Dreaming is comfortable. Action is exposing. It forces you to show up, get real, face resistance, and keep moving when it would be easier to coast. But focused action doesn't just move you forward, it transforms who you become. Every time you act in alignment with your purpose, you're casting a vote for the person you're becoming. You're reinforcing your identity, and identity is the ultimate driver of behavior. You don't get results by forcing action. You get results by becoming the kind of person who naturally takes that action. And that begins with focus. You see, when you're focused, you're not just busy, you're effective. You're not just working harder. You're working smarter. You know exactly what to do and why you're doing it. You're not overwhelmed by the 10,000 things you could do because you're locked in on the 3 that actually matter. And that kind of focus creates momentum, and momentum is the secret. Because when you have momentum, everything feels easier. Wins stack, confidence builds, doubt disappears, and your dream, it stops feeling distant. It starts feeling done. But here's the catch, you don't get to that level by doing things occasionally. You get there by committing daily. Not perfectly, not flawlessly, just consistently, one decision, one action, one step at a time. That's the formula. There's no magic pill, no shortcut. Focused action is the strategy that always works, even when you feel tired, even when you're uncertain, even when nobody's watching or clapping or validating you. Especially then. The real growth happens when you show up without applause, when you keep moving forward without needing permission. That's when you become powerful, because you're no longer driven by how you feel. You're driven by what you've decided. And a person who has made a decision is far more dangerous than someone who just has a desire. You want results? Get obsessed with execution, not just ideas, not just vision, execution. Take your focus and translate it into movement. Create urgency. Build habits that support your mission. Eliminate what's not working. Track your progress. Adjust, refine, but never stop. Never sit back and wait for perfect timing. That's the trap. There is no perfect timing. The moment you get focused and start acting is the moment life starts responding. You don't manifest what you want by wishing for it. You manifest it by working for it, aligning your thoughts, your energy, your habits, and your discipline around that goal until it has no choice but to become real. That's what it means to make success inevitable. It's not about hoping. It's about engineering. Designing your day, your environment, your mindset so that success isn't just possible, it's built in. This doesn't mean you never fail. You will. You're going to stumble. You're going to hit walls. You're going to doubt yourself. That's part of the process. But when you're focused, you don't stay down. You don't let setbacks define you. You use them, you extract lessons, you recalibrate, and you move faster, because every failure, when you're locked in, becomes fuel. It becomes feedback, and feedback is the breakfast of champions. Focused action doesn't mean doing more. It means doing what matters most again and again, until the result becomes non-negotiable. Until your habits start shaping your outcomes, and your outcomes reinforce your identity. That's when the game changes. That's when people look at you and say, "How did they do it?" But they don't see the days when you showed up without excuses. The hours nobody counted. The discipline nobody clapped for, but you know. You know it was built by focused action. One rep at a time, one hard choice at a time, one early morning or late night when it would have been easier to quit, but you didn't. Because you made a decision, you created alignment, and you followed it with relentless, targeted action. So, if you've got a dream that keeps pulling at you, if there's something inside you that refuses to settle, don't wait. Don't overthink. Don't negotiate with your limitations. Get clear, get focused, and start moving, not later. Not when it's easy, now. Because when your actions are focused, your success becomes inevitable.